Howdy everybody, Steve here, KM9G. Today I have a plethora of portable PPS and PD powered devices to share with you. Let's get over to the workbench and take a look. Sometimes I get some weird stuff across my desk and I just have to share it with you guys. These are supposed to be a set of USB power adapters. And there is a ton of stuff in this box. So I'm going to show it all to you. Magnetic charging USB-C power bank. Slim, fast phone charge in 50 minutes, wireless charge with or without a cable. Wireless charge or with a cable. I guess that's the same way of saying the thing, just two different ways. That's my fault. That's not what it said. That's what anyway. So why am I showing you batteries and cables and stuff? A couple of reasons. We are ham radio operators. Number one, we have cell phones, but number two, we need ways to charge QRP radios that are tiny. And that's a 5 amp hour battery, 5,000 milliamp hours, 5 amp hours. That's math, folks. I can do that. But that's 5 amp hours of USB power, so I don't know if that's 5 amp hours at 12 volts or if it's 5 amp hours at 5 volts. That's pretty compact. I like that already. Come on, come on. It kind of looks like it's anodized aluminum, but it really feels like it's kind of plastic. So there's 20 watts. So what you do, there we go, 5 volts, 3 amps, 9 volts, 2.2 amps, 12 volts, 1.67 amps. So this will do a QRP radio at 5 watts, but not a QRP radio at 10 watts. PPS 5 volts to 12 volts, 1.67 amps. So PPS is the new thing, all those specs down there. PPS is the new thing with USB-C, and this is 3 bars charged from the factory. Good. So normal USB had PD trigger cables, and those PD trigger cables had a little chip in them that told the power sending device to send a certain type of power. So PPS says give me anything from 5 volts to 12 volts. It doesn't say give me 5, 9, 12, 15, 20. It says give me 5, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.7, 9.8, whatever. You get the picture. But that's what PPS is cool for. So before you go too far and start saying, I have an Android and I don't have that MagSafe stuff. This is my Android. This is my MagSafe. The battery will clip on and it's going to charge. So there we go, 1 hour until full. So the reason why this works on here is because I went to Amazon and I got myself a MagRing phone case for my Android. So plug it in, find the match, watch it charge. If that doesn't work for you, if you don't have the QI charging, you know, your phone is old, then you can just use a little USB-C to USB-C cable and plug them in directly like that. So there's the power bank part out of the way. We also have an ultra slim 70 watt universal charger, dual USB-C, and this looks like it plugs into the wall. I love power tech. I like where we're going with this stuff. There is so much stuff in our lives that runs off of DC power and not AC power. Yeah, this is a wall charger. This is cool. It's cool because of the size. So single USB-C 1 and C2 output. There's 2 USB ports on it, so you can charge your phone and your watch, or your phone and your significant other's phone, or any combination of the devices there. And so great for travel, fits in a shirt pocket, 120 volt to 240 volt, 50 or 60 hertz, so it's somewhat international. 5, 9, 12, so you can power your QRP radios. 15 volts at 3 amps, so you'll be able to get 10 watts out of your IC705. 20 volts at 3.5 amps. 5 to 11 volts at 4 amps, 4.05 amps max, 45 watt PPS, more PPS stuff. I love it. Dual output, so that's the single output. The dual output kind of derates it, so 35 plus 35 or 45 plus 20 on your ports there. So 70 watts max. That's pretty slick. And then tons and tons of adapters and nice cables and stuff. I don't even know what some of this stuff is. Ah, I get it. Okay. So this is the universal adapter shroud that goes with these kind of cables here, and look at all of these different tips here on the end. I can guarantee that one of these is going to fit the IC705, and I think that one of these is going to fit your Yaesu with their 4017. So we're going to check into that. We have nice quality USB-C cables here. So that's C to C. So as an example, C to shining C. We put the USB-C in there. We put that in there. It lights up, saying that something's going on. We're all connected. We put this in here and put, does it only go in one way? It better only go in one way. It does only go in a one way. Come on. Maybe is it me? Is it me? I think it's me. Okay, so that's a little more difficult to get in than I want it to be. Why is that difficult? Is it just me? Why am I rhyming? Don't rhyme. We tried that one. It is keyed. You can see there's a little key there, and then it is labeled plus or minus. And then this is keyed here. 1. There we go. That one fits. Okay. I don't know what size that one is, but that one fits. They'll probably wear in over time. No big deal.
So that's the one for the Yaesu. And I'm guessing because of the yellow tip. Usually those yellow tips are indicative of the 4017. There's probably some trick that I am missing here. This is the orange one that worked on the other side. Not working there. That's a big one. Okay, interesting.
I think they really wanted me to have some USB-C cables to help demonstrate. I don't know how many you're going to get. I guess it depends on what thing you order, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different USB-C cables.
Okay, so why did that one go in easy and the rest of them did not go in easy? Yeah, see, that one goes in just fine. That's the good one. Give me this other orange one. That one's fine. 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 So they're all fine on this connector, it's just that other connector. Now I just have to test them all. And they're getting easier to put in. So what is different?
Oh, this one side over here looks like it's blocked. I can't get down in there with that. Let's try something else. Good thing they gave me all these USB-C cables so I can use them to do things that you shouldn't do. Okay. I think this one here is just bad. Yeah, that's what it is. That thing right there. Inside, see how there's 2 taps for putting in your positive and negative terminals? The one on this side, the one on the right-hand side, is bent out in a weird way. So this one, no good. Good thing they sent me more than one. This one here, on the other hand, you can see down in there. Let's get the light out so it's not hurting the camera any. But you can see down in there that the 2 terminals are open for business. So that's what it was. This one here is bad. All right, they also sent over a USB wall charger of the standard variety that we are so used to seeing. And what is this one here? This one is 120 to 240, 5 to 9, 5 volt, 9 volt, 3 amp, 12 volt, 2.5 amp. Run your QRP radio directly off of this. 15 volts, 2 amps, 20 volts, 1.5 amps, 5 to 16 volts, 3 amps max on PPS. And this one has 30 watts of output power. So 30 and 20 and 70. So there's your 3-pack there. It's like a minefield of products here, stuff here. And then, what is this thing here that they gave us to play with? This looks like it's a USB-C power monitor device. So you would plug this in. Let's do it like this. Take this and plug it in there, and take that and plug it in there, and she lights up. 5.16 volts. So 5.1 volts is what you need to make your Raspberry Pis happy, and then it's drawing no power. And that doesn't flicker in person, that only flickers on camera. So, nice. So now let's plug in the phone and see what this thing does. So we're going to charge the phone and we're going to see how much power we're pulling out. So the phone has requested, Look at that, that phone is doing that PPS stuff. We've stabilized at 9.2 volts, and we're pulling 2.6 amps. We're pulling 2.08 amps. I was going to say 2.06, and then it went up a little bit. 19.2 watts. So that's how much juice it's pulling to run my phone. Now let's get out a radio. Need an adapter, which I think is in here, right there. Yep. Because I'm going to use my dummy load. So we've got a dummy load on the radio, and then the power port over here. I believe this is a 5525, so we'll have to find the right size. It's not that one. There we go, that one. And then we need the working shroud, which is going to be that one. And hey, look, it fits just fine on the one that works just fine. And we plug them in, and instantly she springs to life. Let me get you all a little zoom here, a little zoom action. Okay, so we are putting out 5.1 volts, 0.02 amps, and 0.10 watts, and I believe that's because the charger is off on this radio. So I'm going to turn it on, and we're going to see how much power draw we're going to get up to. 5 volts, 0 amps, 0 watts. And that's because we're not really doing anything other than idling a single board computer and an SDR. I'm going to go into settings. Charger was off. Let's turn the charger on. The internal battery's at 7.7 volts. Nope, not charging, but that is okay because that's not what this demonstration is about. I'm going to put this into a carrier mode. I'm going to do CW because I've never tried CW with the PTT built in. Yeah, see, I think that's transmitting no power. I think it's just opening the PTT, but the CW signal's not going on. So I'm going to do AM instead, and we're set at 5 watts. Okay, I think that's going the wrong direction. So let's plug this in like that. We've got a new negotiation. Yeah, it's not showing that it's getting external power. Let's plug that in, and then plug that in, and then plug that in. Okay, so we're not getting external power, so that's why that wasn't reading properly. That is a fault of the Zygu not giving the proper PPS, I believe, not giving the proper PD trigger. So I have a PD trigger cable. I don't know if I can make it work with this. Oh, I do know. It can work with this. So let me get my PD trigger cable. And instead of using the white cable that they give you, I'm going to use my PD trigger cable. And I will leave a link to this in the description down below for you, because this I have used quite a bit. So now we've got the 12 volt PD trigger, and I'm already pulling 12 volts even though it's not plugged in, because that's how PD works. It says, I am a 12 volt device, give me 12 volts. And so now, let's go direct. Alright, instantly the radio sees 12 volts. We're doing 0.9 amps and 11 watts. Okay, let's do that transmit trick again. So this drops down to 9 volts. And 1.99 amps and 18 watts, and we're sending out 5 watts of power. So there's a little bit of a draw issue there, but that's okay. That's just the power bank. There's other ways to do this. Let's do radio setting. No, I don't need radio setting. I need to turn the power up. Power's up to 10 watts. And let's see what happens when we stress this thing way out. This is only a 20 watt pack. Yeah, so we're down to 8 volts. Radio still thinks it's doing 10 watts. It's pulling 2 amps, which is about what you need to do 10 watts. And we are at, yeah, okay, it just folded back to 5 watts. All right, so you can use this to charge this radio, but you can't use this to transmit with this radio. Let's regroup and try it again. Actually, before we get too far, this is 70 watts. This is 20 watts. So I got to plug this in off camera and run the cable over there so we can do it again. All right, through my bag of tricks, extension cable achieved its USB-C. Well, hell, I don't know which one is which. I guess this is female because that's the one that you stick the thing in, and that's the one with the thing that you stick into things. These are kind of, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So it's USB-C receptacle to USB-C plug. There we go. Look at that. Look at me being all politically correct. I'm going to plug that in there. That gets plugged into the wall socket. And then where is their cable? There's the power meter, which will get that in view for you. And then I want their cable. Plug in their cable, plug in their adapter. We're seeing power at 5.2 volts. Ah, that's why. Okay, so that's the issue there. This is just a USB-C cable. This is not a trigger cable. So I still need a trigger cable no matter what. I need some device in there that has some schmotz that says what to do. So I plug that one in and it gives me 12.4. Turn the radio on, 5 watts, 12.3 volts, 9 watts on standby receive, 9 amps, 0.9 amps on standby receive, 11 watts draw. We're in AM mode. We're at 5 watts on the radio. Let's PTT. There we go. Now we can handle it. 12 volts, 2 amps, 24 watts. Perfect. All right, so that is 5 watts. Let's do 10 watts. So now I'm set to 10 watts power. I'm going to go back to AM mode because that's what we need to do. We don't need volume on that. And let's see, can we do 10 watts? There we go. Full power out. 34 watts drawn, 2.8 amps drawn. Perfect. 12.1 volts. Excellent. Okay, so that's one radio. We have a couple more that we need to. So this here is my FT5D Go Bag, and you guys are zoomed way in on that. Let's do that again. This here is my FT5D Go Bag that has all of my Yaesu FT5 accoutrement in it. And if you want to see more about what's in this kit, all the FT5 accessories that I have played with over the years, there's a link at the top there for you. But I need the radio, and in order to charge the battery, you need to have the battery. So that plugs in there, and then I need... We'll do their USB cable with no trigger at all. We'll do their USB adapter, and then I need I believe this is the 4017 that I'm looking for. Plug that in, and then down here, DC input. There we go, that's the right size. And what do we got? We got anything? Voltage dry 4.7. Voltage lithium 7.9. Okay, so this is only putting out the 5 volts from the regular USB. So what I need is some device in between these things that's going to tell me, that's going to tell the power supply to produce the right amount of voltage. Well, this little guy right here, the KWS2301C, will actually record the amount of power that's been drawn through, or you can reset it. It'll also do max watts, max amps, max volts. And then you can change the display orientation with a double click to go upside down, a double click to go right side up again. You can long press it to reset the data. Excellent. But what we don't have is a PD trigger in these guys. So these are good adapters, but they're adapting 5 volts to 5 volts, which is not enough to charge the FT5D. And that's what we're going to run into with all the rest of the stuff. Okay. So never fear, for all of you 5D folks, I have this really cool adapter here, which has the PD trigger built into it. It's 4017 on the radio end. So we take that and we plug it into our power supply, our battery brick. And then we can take this, just a regular old USB-C cable, and plug it in. And I do not have the battery plugged in. Let's see if, yep, this radio will power up. It says external DC. It's almost impossible to read on the screen. There we go. Voltage external 11.7. So that's us running off of the PD trigger, off of the battery. We're doing 12.2 volts, 0.18 amps, 2.18 watts. Nice. And that is why you have a Go Bag, a possibilities bag, a bag full of all of the things you need for all of the possibilities. All right, so last minute update. These guys are working on this. Like I said, it's a Kickstarter. They're doing stuff all the time to add new features to this. There's an app. I couldn't find it for Android. They assure me that there will be one. I didn't look for Apple because I didn't feel like digging an iPhone out of the locker. But it also runs on Chrome browsers on all platforms. So plug it in and go to town. So check this out. This is my big TV and I've got my radio plugged in here and it says, please connect device. And I think it's connected. Just hit refresh. Let's sit this down so I can use both hands. I'm gonna unplug it from the radio and then refresh it. It's plugged into the computer. Come on now. Connect device. It is connected. You can tell it's connected because the light comes on. Blue light special. There we go. So this is the app, and it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple right now. It's showing me that this is set for 12 volts, but you can drop it. But you can come in and you can click this modify button. Now that I've got it set up, let's get you a better view of the screen. You can come in and click this modify button and click and type, and I can do 5 volts, and that's one of the standard PD voltages available. So we hit save, and then refresh. You can do modify, and then you can put in 6 volts, which is not a normal PD voltage, but it is a PPS voltage. So we'll do that. And it was acting a little funny. Like I said, it's kind of a thing, kind of a new cutting edge thing, and it's getting better all the time. Let's do save. Let's do a refresh. There we go. So now we're at 12 volts standard. And so what we can do is we can plug this thing into the radio. Right now you can see we're running off of battery power at 7.7 volts. Give me the other end of this. I got to plug this device here, the USB end. I'm going to plug this device into a power supply. Poof. Then I'm going to need 2 hands to do the other part of this. So we'll plug this into the device here, and we're still at 12 volts. So you can see it's 11.9, so it's put up. We've got transmit power. We'll turn it up to 10 watts. We're in AM mode. I'm going to hit transmit, and we're transmitting 10 watts out. Perfect. No problem. It says 11.7. There's a little bit of voltage sag. That's probably the USB cable, but it hasn't reset itself. That's 10 watts AM. And we're going into that dummy load there, so she's a-working. So all that stuff I was talking about with PPS, it's actually built in, but when I got this, it didn't come with any documentation. When I scoured the website for information, it said that there was an app, it said that it would do it. I couldn't figure it out. I plugged it into my laptop, I plugged it into my MacBook over here behind me, and it said, hey, there's a new device. Do you want to talk to it? Yes, I want to talk to it. And then it said, hey, this device needs an app in a browser, and I've got Edge and Brave and Chrome all running on the same machine for different reasons, for different work that I do, and each one of them was like, I get it, I get it, I get it. And then I wasn't able to program it on the Mac. I brought it over here to Linux. This machine here that I showed you is Linux Mint, and I had to install Chrome on it, and then Chrome was able to connect to it, and I'm able to set it. And that thing, sit you guys over there, so I can pull this out. So this is the whole device with the cable and everything. So that's the USB cable. This is the adapter from their special port arrangement thing to whatever barrel jack you want. And then this guy here is now programmed as 12 volts as its own trigger device. So this is a variable trigger device that you set via a web browser by plugging it into USB-C on your computer and opening up Chrome. So let's plug that in. Let's grab the cable, plug the cable in here. I'm going to take this end and plug it back into the computer and refresh the browser. There it is. 12 volts set up, and then I can change it over to whatever voltage that I want. So all my dreams have come true. I am digging where we're going with USB power. I made a comment earlier in the video. There are so many things that run on DC, 12 volts DC, 5 volts DC, whatever. You know, like the green accent lights that I have, the overhead lights are 12 volt DC. The overhead lights on my workbench are 12 volt DC. I'm looking at, like, on my workbench here, I got a huge mess, but I'll share it with you anyway. So there's the big lights right there that I was telling you about. Those are run on 12 volts DC. This USB power strip is run on 12 volts DC. I've got an oscilloscope down there that runs on 120 volt AC, but converts it to, I think, 8 volts DC. I got a bunch of gear over there that runs on USB stuff and has USB batteries in it and so on. The Raspberry Pi I showed you, the laptop display that's actually powered off of USB-C directly. What else? We've got the QRP radio that'll run off of 12 volts USB or even 9 volts for 5 watts. Crazy stuff. So the only thing in here that doesn't run off of USB power currently is my workbench power supply and my laser printer. But that's because there's not enough amps out of USB cabling right now to do that. Both of those need high amperage from the wall in order to give you high amperage to the workbench or to the laser printer. So basically this thing is an adapter from USB-C to all of these cables here, which are all of these different shapes and sizes. I have 2 sets, so I mean, it looks like there's a lot, but there was, I think, 4 and 4. So you get the 5525 that you need, you get the 5521, I believe. You get the 4017 you need for the Azus, and then you get some smaller ones too that I don't know what size they are. I don't have the internal caliper, the internal feeler, whatever you call that thing. I have the external caliper, so it'll tell me the external size, but that's the easy part. It's the other side that you need. A ton of USB cables. I do like the super slim 5 amp hour 20 watt charger for the phone, and pretty cool stuff. This is currently a Kickstarter. I will leave a link to the Kickstarter down below where you can get more information on this, and then when they get it updated to the real deal, I'll give you a link to, I guess, the Jungle Market, where we sell and buy everything, buy and sell everything. But I think they're on the right track. I like it. There is a video right over here I think you'll enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.